Hello, welcome back to Amanda Plays Let's Play Pokemon Yellow with me, Amanda, and yeah, just me. So I did some stuff on the Silent Bridge or wherever it is, and now I'm gonna go look for the Self Scope, because that needs to happen. And seriously, what is up with the bicycle sprite? I think I've talked about this before. I don't remember. You probably remember, but I don't. It flattens out my hat, and I look like I have a newsboy hat on. Which, no. So, anyway. Oh yeah, Team Rocket has invaded Celadon City. That's pretty cool. So we're gonna go and invade their hideout and look for everything. But while that's happening, I'm going to talk over it about something that is not really related to it. I might comment here or there, but we're going to talk about how the day that I'm recording this, I just took my practicum for my teaching English as a second language certificate. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I did good or bad. I think I did bad because everybody else in my class, with the exception of like 2 other people, had really fun and like lively and energetic and just great, great, great lessons. I also chalk it up to the fact that they have all taught before, so like they're cheating because they're teachers and they kind of already know what works and what doesn't. So yeah, like somebody had, we read part of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and then we were talking about prepositional phrases with like a passage from there, and she gave out Jolly Ranchers. A couple people gave out candy, and I was like, dude, I wish I could give out candy, but I'm broke, and I can barely afford to drive down here every single weekend to take this class, let alone buy candy. So, that was fun. And then somebody else did, we were practicing reading, excuse me, just practicing reading comprehension. And then, what happens next? You read something, okay, well, what do you think happens next? Or if you were talking to this person, what kind of advice would you give? Which, that's good, especially for the culture that she was, leaning towards. That would be a very appropriate thing for that situation. And oh my gosh, there were just so many good things that were going on. So I was really happy that everybody else was doing a good job, and then there's me with my I did this thing where I was combining I almost just planned out an entire week's worth of lessons because then it would have made more sense in my head and maybe I could have had a more structured lesson. Because in my lesson I was like, okay, well, all this whole week we have been expanding our vocabulary under this umbrella of terms. So I had like a basic idea, and then they would have known 4 or 5 terms relating to this thing, and then I was expanding on those 4 or 5 with 4 or 5 new words relating to that. So I was just trying to, make them more vocabulary-tastic. And then also introduce, building on, sequential order and logical ideas and transitional words and phrases. We were starting to do that, and, it made sense in the context of this is what we have been doing all week, so we are just continuing and building on top of the building blocks we've already been doing. But I don't know if it actually worked, and I don't know. I was nervous, so I was just so not I don't even know how to explain it. I just felt like I wasn't as bouncy and enthusiastic as some of the other people who have gone before me, which, that's not really who I am to begin with. In most situations, there are a couple that stick out in my mind that are, definitely situations where I'm bouncy and enthusiastic. But presenting on a topic that we really weren't given much structure on, it was just create a lesson plan and present it to the class. Okay, I don't know how to do that, but I'll go right ahead and do it anyway. That was really just what happened. Was that was the assignment. Come up with a lesson, do it for half an hour, and then I grade you on it. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but sure. Um. Oh, and I just, I like to be, prepared for things and on my A game, but I just feel like in this situation I was definitely not. So I'm hoping that if I actually do go overseas to teach, then I will be able to at least base my lessons on the curriculum and the book, um, to make it a little more coherent rather than just going, I'm gonna pull this out of my ass and hope it works. Oh, it was just, I'm hoping that it went well. I get my results tomorrow for me. This will be like 2 weeks ago for you guys. I think this is gonna go up, after Easter. I think that's what we're up to. So I'll be way done by this point with that. So I'm hoping that I do well. And then my next video, you'll probably, well, maybe not the next video. Probably a couple videos from now you'll find out if I passed or not. Which apparently everybody passes. It's just a matter of, okay, you need to work on this or whatever. It's not a simple pass-fail. It is a little bit more complex than that. Okay, so yeah, what else happened today? Yeah, there was just a lot of really good, like one kid is in my class, he's planning on going to Vietnam, and he like spent half of his life there, so he already kind of knows, the culture and what would work best and, for a certain age group. So he did this thing where apparently in Vietnam, they're very obsessed with pop culture figures and celebrity. So he had Will Smith, a picture of Will Smith, and then we were trying to do something where we just named, where we knew him from, while also pretending to be Vietnamese children. That's what we did all day. We would harass each other during presentation by going, I don't know what this means, and it would be like the simplest thing, or I don't know how to say this, when it was like 4,764,972, something like that. And we'd have to go through explaining how to say numbers and whatnot. So I was like, Will Smith is the guy in the movie with the aliens. Will Smith has been in like 4 movies with aliens at this point. So then we have to go through and read a paragraph. So we would read like a brief biography of how Will Smith's acting career started. And he would stop us after every sentence and go, okay, well, what do you think this means? Or, you probably don't know what this means, so let me explain in the context. Or, how does this word differ from the usual meaning that it has, in this sentence? Or, where have you heard this from? Or, like, he did such a good job. I was like, wow, I'm so impressed by this, but you're also cheating because you have lived in the culture that you are going to do, so you kind of had a leg up on the rest of us. And one guy is going to go and teach medical students, so he had a to us it was kind of dull because it was very medical heavy, but it would work for the situation that he was going for. But for us, we were just like, oh my god, okay, when this is gonna be over? Props for the med students, not so much for those of us who have, limited exposure to the medical field. I'm trying to think what else. There's 2 people who haven't gone yet, so they're going in the morning, and then we discuss our results later. And oh my gosh, so much happened today. I can't really remember it all. One guy got really stuck on like explaining what a hyphen is and the function of a hyphen. So for the rest of the class, we would just try and bring it back to hyphens and cracking each other up for it. It was the weirdest inside joke ever, but to the 12 people in that room, it was hysterical. Just because this guy he spent so much time trying to explain the function of a hyphen, and we were just making it so hard for him to try and explain it. And really, when you think about it, can you explain what a hyphen is? If somebody asked you what the purpose of it, probably not. So, probably you would be in a similar situation. You know, if you, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it was really funny to us, and I can't even explain why, because that is the nature of an inside joke. It's funny for just the circumstances surrounding it. And now I'm being redundant, which is something we covered in class today, redundancy and restatements. Yeah, there were a couple that weren't really that good, besides mine. So I don't really want to talk about them because I feel bad. But I can't even think about the other ones that were good. Some of them were good just because the people, like, the lessons themselves might not be good, but the people who are doing them, they just bring so much energy to everything that they do, it just feels more fun than it is. So that's a really good quality that a lot of my classmates have, which is, you know, a very, very good thing, and probably a very high compliment that I can give. You know, making something that's uninteresting interesting is not an easy thing to do. So now I have to, tomorrow we are mostly focusing on, after we finish the last 2 practicums, we will be talking about how to rewrite our resumes, which, yay! Oh, I have rewritten my freaking resume so many times. I can't do it anymore, but I have to, because that's how it works. So rewriting your resume specifically for an overseas teaching job, and then talking about how to get said job, because there's some loopholes, or, you know, some hoops to jump through, and some loopholes to close and exploit, and other things you do with loopholes. So that's not going to be very fun. I have picked out a couple of countries that I would like to go to. Japan and Korea, because, well, Korea pays the best, to be honest. If you watch Fizzy Lyman, Steve, he is in Korea right now. So I don't really know him more than, like, I've commented on his blog a couple of times, and maybe talked to him on Twitter once or twice. But, you know, I could always be like, hey, I am kind of from the same area as you, and I will be doing this. Do you want to, like, hang out sometime as expats? Like, so I figure, you know, use connections for expats any way I can. But I'm also kind of hesitant about going to Korea because, you know, North Korea is kind of being aggressive right now, and I don't want to be in that kind of situation. But, you know, hey, money is money at this point. And I hear that Seoul is an amazing place to live. Most, you know, really anywhere in Korea here, or South Korea, I should say, is an amazing place to live. But, you know, Seoul is supposed to be one of the most amazing places in Asia to live. I've also chosen Japan as one of my places. I have 4 friends, maybe 4 or 5 friends, a handful of friends living and teaching in Japan already. People who I have known for several years, and they love it. So I would like to go over there and be near people that I like and I, you know, can hang out with. I'm bad at making friends, so going to somewhere where friends already exist is kind of, you know, a good top priority for me. And then I also checked off Spain and Germany and Russia. I think France too. Definitely Spain, and maybe I checked off Italy as well. I don't remember. It's not a couple of European countries, which might not be that easy for me to get into, because apparently they don't really like to take people who are A, don't speak British English, and B, are not from the European Union. They like to have that passport for some reason. For probably it makes it easier, legal reasons. Apparently Russia is a little bit easier to get into because it's more Eastern European. It's like a mix of Eastern and Western, because if you know anything about Russia, then you get that. The only downside, well, there's 2 downsides. Number 1, space seems to be attacking it. Number 2, it's really cold in Russia for most of the year. I don't like being cold. So, you know, Spain would be a pretty ideal place to go, because Spain It's warm in Spain. Don't know if you know this about it, but it's warm. There's a reason that the siesta exists, and that is because it gets very hot and they would like to take a nap during the hot parts. So we'll see where I end up going next. It's going to be a couple months before I can even think about it because of just money reasons. It's expensive to move overseas. There's also a lot of paperwork involved, so, you know, it's not going to be something that happens right away. So hopefully, I would like to say, like, next January would be a great time to go. You know, I can leave right after the holidays, spend holidays with my family, and then just start a new adventure, which would be great. It's just getting to that point and, you know, getting money to get to that point. My whole life revolves around money at this point, and I really hate that. It's not a fun thing to do, is just spend so much time thinking about money and how to get it. And how not to lose it, but that's not here or there. Anyway, so I'm going to stop talking now, and we're just going to keep spinning on these spinny tiles, because that is the most fun you could ever have anywhere. Isn't this in the gym, too? The Team Rocket gym? Or the Chameleon gym, whatever. It's run by Team Rocket Boss. Yeah, that's... whoever invented that. That was a great idea. Anyway, I will see you guys next time.